Good evening. Tonight you join us at our studio in London, where we will be bringing you coverage of tonight's legislative session at the House of Commons in Westminster. We shall be cutting over to our view over there very shortly, and we'll be bringing you coverage of the various legislation that gets put through the House of Commons tonight, and bringing you live coverage of all of that, including drama as it unfolds, as expected. Obviously, the last session was last night, which we were unable to cover, which was obviously the Minister's Questions, where there was the failed vote of no confidence on the Speaker of the House of Commons, Leader of the House of Commons rather, which obviously that went ahead and that failed by, I think it was 3 votes it failed by, I think it was 20 to 23 votes. So obviously the Leader of the House of Commons will be remaining in his role tonight. So we will just be bringing you the view now of the House of Commons. Obviously, still filling up with MPs and so on, with the session about to start within the next few moments, very shortly indeed. In other news, of course, we had the F1 qualifiers tonight. Oh. Sorry, bringing you the national anthem now. I believe that is one of the Pirate Party MPs, Pokemon, are all there just jumping around. So that is the leader there calling for order, and the House is now in session. So that is confirmation. We start with the beginning of the amendment to the National Holidays Act 2022. Can't remember exactly what I heard about it, but I did hear something about that the other day. So they're not debating the amendment, and it will move straight on to the vote of the amendment to the Act. see a big oh. So let's clear that out of the way. There we go. Yeah, so the MPs are now going to vote on that, as there was quite a clear division there between the government and the opposition. Although there were obviously members from both sides having different opinions to the rest. We will not be filming who's voting what for their privacy, but as you can see we have 19 ayes and 11 noes, so it looks like that has passed. So the MPs should hopefully be going back into the House momentarily. Yep, that is the Leader of the House calling for them to return. And then we have the parade of Roblox politicians entering through into the House again after having voted on the matter. As I said earlier, it looked like that had passed, so we'll just wait for official confirmation from the Leader of the House as to whether the amendment passed the Commons or not. So it was 18 in favour of the amendment, so 18 ayes, and well, I guess we'll never know. So it will be sent to Royal Assent. We'll just have a look at how many no's there are. Never mind, it's gone off the screen. But yes, that has passed the House of Commons and will be sent to His Majesty the King for Royal Assent. So moving on to an amendment to the Amendment to the Bill of Rights Act. Okay, that is quite complicated. Obviously there is no one looking for... Yeah, as I believe that was the way in there saying we are amending the amendment to the amendment. There we go. So there was no debate, and so we will move straight on to a vote by the looks of things. It looks like the House is in favour of the amendment to the amendment to the amendment, so it looks like that has passed. I don't think I see anyone saying no to that. Now moving on to the amendment of the Football Governance Act, which was obviously came under quite a lot of controversy. I think it was a week ago. Obviously with the Scottish Football Association and the we have Scottish Football Association and the government. There was quite a bit of controversy regarding some inconsistencies. So there we have one of the unionist members of Parliament, HRH, Funky Monkey, there saying that the amendment is very Sigma. So there you go. Actually, no, I believe he's Harold Rothschild now, sorry. Again, with the lovely pink suit from last week's Minister's question session, which I do approve of. In fact, I think pink seems to be the fashion in the House of Commons, or certainly with the Unionists. There have been two Unionists there with very, very lovely pink suits. Oh. And at the moment, I'm not entirely sure what's happening. It just appears to be that everyone is sitting around. I think the Pirate Party MP, Poke, seems to have been disconnected or something since he has seemingly disappeared. Or whoever it was that was wanting to speak, I can't remember. Oh no, it's the Social Democrat Poke. There we go. Obviously, former Secretary for Culture, Media and Sport. And apparently, it's a good addition, according to him, the amendment. Obviously, he came under quite a lot of controversy recently, as he was obviously behind, or partly behind, the original Football Association that caused controversy, obviously, because the Football Association, well, there was no mention of its relation to the Scottish Football Association, and so it was quite unclear as to how that would work and as to whether the Scottish Football Association, which is of course a private company, would come under the Football Association, which is of course state-owned. However, the amendment has now cleared that up, and obviously all of the House of Commons is in favour of that amendment. So that will likely be passed on from there. Yes, that's now passed. We're now moving on to the Constable Prosecution Bill. Have the Member of Parliament for Manchester speaking. Wherever he is, there we go. From the Pirate Party. obviously, for those of you who aren't aware as to what the Constable Prosecution Bill is, it is essentially going to provide more legal support for police officers who come under, prosecution. If you could remember back to the whole incident with the Met Police firearms officer Kralex and the issues he faced with the law, obviously carrying out an order he'd been given, and obviously the massive controversy that sparked. So I do believe that has influenced the bill. So it's just providing more legal support for police officers. It looks like the House is divided, so they will be voting now. Oh, and I hate this because I have to close that. There we go. So all the MPs are now leaving the House of Commons, with one Social Democrat MP just living life. Oh, he's going around that way. Fair enough. Let's see, the House is now voting on the subject. They shall be back momentarily. That is the House being ordered to return. All of the MPs now flooding back into the Commons, like so. We shall then hear the results of the vote on there, and it does appear that one of the Social Democrat MPs there has picked up a wig, or National MPs, judging by the fact he sat over there. So that was 19 no's, so 19. It does appear that someone joined mid-vote, according to Unionist MP Drac710, and so that is the leader of the House of Commons now checking the join logs to see if that did indeed happen. Apparently nobody walked in according to clerks, so that has been disregarded. So now moving on from that back to the debate. That is leader of the Pirate Party, DNC Adam. So we'll see what the leader of the House has to say in response to DNC Adams' claims there. There is some random chap just made his way into the House of Commons just now. There will be no revote, as there are allegedly no grounds for a revote according to the Leader of the House, who has the final say. So I have the Member of Parliament for Manchester speaking now. Now I have DNC Adam from the opposition making a point. Obviously, this is over the concern that a MP walked in late to the session and missed part of the debate given by the Member of Parliament for Manchester over the Constable Rights... No, is it the Constable Rights Act? Something like that, anyway. And the debate for it, which obviously... yeah. I cannot have a revote according to the Leader of the House. Seems to be quite a lot of arguing between the Social Democrat, or between the government and the opposition. So we're moving on from the question as to whether or not there should be a revote. So we're moving on to the next bill vote, which is the amendment to the Standing Orders of the House of Commons. Here we have the Leader of the House speaking, Mr. Jimbo from the Social Democrats. I have the Shadow Leader of the House speaking, Mr. Rothschild from the opposition. Again, in a rather lovely pink suit there, I will say. Obviously, this is in relation to part of the standing orders, which is obviously the dress code, which would mean that sunglasses would not be allowed in the House of Commons, which obviously Mr. Rothschild, obviously sporting his sunglasses right here, obviously with the other Rothschild there, Mr. Harold Rothschild behind him, he's obviously another member of the Unionist Party. Also sporting some lovely sunglasses there. Now I have the Leader of the House, Mr. Jimbo, responding to that. I have the Opposition Chief Whip speaking now in relation to the usage of sunglasses in the House of Commons. Speaking as the wearer of the most accessories in the House. Again, sporting a lovely pair of shades there. Now we have the Shadow Chancellor, Harold Rothschild, speaking on the matter. Now I have the Member of Parliament for Hampshire. Oh, never mind, he's not speaking. Or is he? I don't know. A point of order from Mark, wherever he is. There you go. Asking the Speaker of the House to tell the government backbenchers to be quiet when there is a debate going on. As obviously we've seen quite a bit of back chatter there during these debates. Although admittedly, is the opposition any better? I think they're all just as bad as each other when it comes to that one. There we go. And there's a Speaker of the House telling the government backbenchers to be quiet, as requested by the by Mark from the Pirate Party. Anyway, now speaking again, we have the Member of Parliament for Hampshire and Wright speaking on the matter of wearing sunglasses in the House of Commons. This is the longest debate we've had so far tonight, and it is on the wearing of sunglasses in the House of Commons. Yes, this is what row politics has come to. So it does very much seem to be the approach of the opposition of ultimately, does it really matter what people wear in the House of Commons, as long as it's not absolutely outrageous or anything. Now having a vote over the matter. There's a clear division there, and so the House will be going over to their voting chambers. We'll see with a few MPs still mingling about in the House. There's Edward Light in there. Oh, never mind, he's slowly making his way out of the House over to vote on the matter. Now the countdown is over. They will then be returned to the House of Commons following the vote on the subject. Whenever the speaker wakes up, oh no, he's think he's trying to get the sword. Meanwhile, all the MPs are in the voting chamber, unknown that the Speaker of the House is just, I don't know, doing his thing. Oh, there we go. They've now been called to return. And once again, we have the stampede of members of Parliament returning to the House of Commons, following their vote on the amendment to the House of Commons standing orders, I believe, which is obviously all about wearing sunglasses or not in Parliament. So there's 19 in favour, and the amendment has failed the House of Commons because of its nature. Now moving on to the Police Liabilities Bill. So obviously that does mean that the Rothschilds there, and of course Mr. Track 710, and whichever MP that is over there from the Unionists, wearing a lovely pair of sunglasses, as well as, well, I don't see many government MPs with sunglasses, but anyway, those four individuals can keep their sunglasses on and continue to look very stylish. Yeah, and this is a very similar bill to the one they voted on earlier, which obviously failed. Obviously this is the government's version, I do believe, which will be voted on, and I'm assuming that this one will pass it through the Commons. We have the Member of Parliament for Manchester wishing to speak now. Yep, the Member of Parliament for Manchester speaking now. Now moving on to the vote of the bill. There is clear division as expected, and so the MPs will be going into the voting lobbies once again to vote on the matter. Obviously, Unionist MP there, Wayne, sat there for a little minute. And we are expecting this to be a close vote. We'll see the countdown ending now. All MPs will be returned shortly on request of the Speaker of the House of Commons. And that is then being ordered to return once again in the stampede of MPs returning to the House. With the Speaker calling for order once again. It's 20 in favour of the new bill, and we're just about to find out how many are against it. Now moving on to the amendment of the Proprietary Offences Act 2020. See with one of the government MPs speaking there, I cannot remember which one. So that was one of the MPs pointing out the support and petitions for this amendment. The leader of the Pirates, DNC Adams speaking, calling the bill awful and saying that it doesn't really do anything. I have the Member of Parliament for Manchester from the Pirate Party and the opposition speaking now. We've spoken quite a lot tonight. See, the government opposition's main issue with the bill obviously being some of the wording of the bill. Now, we're moving on to a vote within the House. Oh, never mind, we have the Unionist Member of Parliament and Shadow Northern Ireland, or I believe he's the... oh, never mind. We have Mr. DNC Adam from the Pirate Party speaking, saying that Wayne, who obviously we were just mentioning there, he's just stood up. Wayne saying it's fine there, so. So in that case we shall looks like we're going to go to a vote as soon as this little invasion is sorted. Obviously the Secretary for Northern Ireland there just had to rejoin, and so they're waiting for him to rejoin. And come back to that. Oh no, I know it was one of the Unionist MPs there. Now I'll be voting on the amendment. Obviously, as expected, the government being in favour and the opposition not being in favour. There being division called as expected, and they will now go to their respected voting lobbies to vote on the matter before returning once the votes are counted up, and then the decision shall be made from there. I should just wait for the members of Parliament to return to the House once the voting countdown ends. The members of Parliament are now being ordered to return to the House of Commons from their respective voting chambers, where the results of the votes shall be announced to the House. Obviously they were voting there on the government's bill relating to the new bill about protection for police constables, or legal protection for them and support, of course. 19 in favour, and well, 19 against. So the noes are in favour, and therefore the bill has not passed the House of Commons. In fact, it has failed and will not be forwarded on to the House of Lords. That being the last bill to be put through. And the House is now adjourned. Well, that has been tonight's legislative sitting, of course, and so we shall be bringing certainly an end to the coverage of the sitting. Obviously, there have been quite a few bills that have been passed and quite a few being failed, to which we shall release the full summary of that on the Williams Media Twitter later, either this evening or tomorrow morning. Yes, so that will be coming out shortly as a quick summary as to what passed and what didn't. Of course, obviously, I'm sure other media channels should also be covering that. However, obviously, moving on to other news, obviously the F1 qualifiers happened earlier this evening. The results as to the starting grid have not been released yet. However, the timings have been released for both halves to the qualifiers, with it looking that we have, results. It looks like we're going to have DA or Dariob, apologies for any mispronunciation, there at the top with the fastest time there of 57.51 seconds. Obviously with Noah 2B123 coming in second there with 57.326, and the British Coat coming in third place with 57.559 seconds. So being very close there between the top three. British Coat, obviously, he won the first qualifiers Q1 with a 57.336. Moving on, we shall be hopefully bringing you a live coverage of the changing of the guard taking place at Buckingham Palace tonight. Obviously, that's been joint between the King's Royal Hussars and the Grenadier Guards. So we shall hope to be getting down there and bringing you coverage of that now. Obviously, the Grenadier Guards will be forming the new guard, and the King's Royal Hussars will be the old guard. Obviously, about a month ago now, control was handed over to the King's Royal Hussars for Buckingham Palace, and that has now been returned to the Grenadier Guards in a ceremony. We shall try and hopefully bring you coverage. There we go. Yep, that is. We've now got free camera. So we will be bringing you coverage of the changing of the guard happening outside Buckingham Palace now. Obviously, when it was handed over to the Kings or Hussars. In the last Changing the Guard, I was actually present for that, with that being the day before I departed from the Grenadier Guards, so it'll be good to see them handing it back in. Bear with whilst we just update the stream and re-announce it in its new form. The two regiments are currently both still rallying, so we still have a moment there before the Changing the Guard takes place. Bear with, we will switch over to our cameras over at Buckingham Palace shortly, as we just we will switch over to our update the stream and re-announce it. Okay, so bear with again, just to remind you, we will be bringing you live coverage from the Changing of the Guard. We are just announcing that now. And there is a time limit before I can post another thing, so I'll just have to exit the old message and hope someone sees it. Alright, casting over to our cameras now in London. There we go. No, not that one. That's the one I want. There you go. As you can see, we have the Kings or Hussars formed up in front of Buckingham Palace, forming the Old Guard, with the newly appointed Regimental Sergeant Major for the Grenadier Guards, Human there. He's just disappeared. But yes, we have the Kings or Hussars forming the Old Guards there, all formed up, with the commanding officer, Lieutenant Colonel Trojan there, or I believe she's Lieutenant Colonel Trojan. No, she's full Colonel now. Yes, that would be Colonel Trojan, and obviously the one of the company sergeant majors, or sorry, squadron sergeant majors, in fact, Warrant Class 2, Henley there from the King's Royal Hussars, obviously former Prime Minister. Yeah, so just making the final preparations before departing. So, obviously what's going to happen is we will have the old guard all formed up, ready to change over with the new guard, who will be formed up over at Wellington Barracks, which consists of the Grenadier Guards, and they will simply march down from Wellington Barracks into the forecourt of Buckingham Palace, where they will hold the historic changing of the guard ceremony with the King's Royal Hussars. Obviously, there have been quite a number of them formed up in the car park there. I have the new guard being instructed to take up hype by the new Company Sergeant Major for 9 Megan Company, CSM Dawson there. And now in commanded to slope hype by the CSM. Who shall be giving a significant amount of commands today. There we go, they've been ordered to left turn. Obviously that means that they shall be marching off through there and wheeling around that horse that seems to have appeared and out through the parade square of Wellington Barracks, which is obviously very familiar with myself, having served 9 months in the Guards. You see there is the CSM taking up position at the rear of the parade there. This is the process of what is very commonly known as in the forces as hurry up and wait, which is the process of course, well, it sort of says what it is in the name really, which is obviously hurrying up and then waiting around for a while. Obviously it's been very much common practice within the forces, both inside roadblocks and of course real life. Obviously, the changing the guard is a very historic ceremony that goes back many a year, and is something the Grenadier Guards have conducted several times in the past. In Roblox, it is quite a rare occurrence, with it only happening every so often. With the last one, of course, being back in August when the Grenadier Guards handed over control of Buckingham Palace to the King's Royal Hussars. The one before that being on the way back in April, but between the Grenadier Guards and the French National Guard, as part of the symbolisation of the agreement. I can't remember which agreement it was that was put forward between the French and the British all those years ago, and I can't remember how many years ago it was, but it was an agreement put forward several years ago anyway. A decent amount. It was an anniversary, and obviously in line with the British Army's real life celebrations of that, the Grenadier Guards also conducted something with the French National Guard, and that was the last changing the guard we saw before last month's changing the guard, so it's safe to say that this is quite a rare occurrence, of course. And we have Chief of General Staff Ismail Mountbatten leading the parade there into Buckingham Palace. Obviously, General Mountbatten has been in the forces for many years now, rising through the ranks, of course, through the, I believe it was Princess of Wales Royal Regiment initially, and then joined the Household Cavalry, where he then commissioned as a second lieutenant and worked his way up the ranks through the Household Cavalry before establishing the Household Division. After having reached commanding officer of the Household Cavalry, he then went and established the Household Division upon the commissioning of the Grenadier Guards, and he made brigadier and led the division of some time before his brief retirement, before he then returned to the army and continued to lead the Household Division until the previous Chief of General Staff stepped down almost a year ago now, where he took up the post of the Chief of General Staff and has held the position ever since. Obviously, the previous Chief of General Staff being the Duke of York. So it's safe to say that General Mountbatten is very much a seasoned veteran, and can be seen as such by his rather large collection of medals that he has there. We have music playing now. So they shall be stepping off any moment now. Again, as I said earlier, this is very much a process of hurrying up and waiting. Oh, we've got some rather interesting music playing there. Obviously, the two sergeant majors there trying to figure out who played that music. Obviously, the army and particularly the Grenadier Guards are very well known for their high standard of discipline. So it appears that they're sorting through music codes at the moment in preparation for their march off. And Ismail is doing his own thing there. And so is Colour Sergeant of our main company, warming up in preparation for the ceremony that is about to take place. Of course, the Old Guard are already formed up at Buckingham Palace and are just waiting for the Grenadier Guards to get up there. Obviously, the Old Guard comprising of the King's Royal Hussars and the New Guard comprising of the Grenadier Guards. Again, as mentioned earlier, this is the handing back of the duties at Buckingham Palace from the King's Royal Hussars over to the Grenadier Guards, following the previous change of the guard about a month ago, where control was handed over from the Grenadier Guards over to the King's Royal Hussars for the last month. Obviously, King's Royal Hussars being a tank regiment, this is something unusual for them, and something different to offer their soldiers. However, again, responsibility is now being handed back over to the very familiar and very patriotic and very iconic Grenadier Guards with their bearskins and tunics. And so hopefully any moment now they will be stepping off. Again, very much the case with a major parade such as this. There is usually quite a lot of technical stuff to sort out before stepping off on a parade. As I know from experience, having served in the Guards for 9 months, this is something that happens fairly regularly. But it is just part of the job and part of roadblocks really. And so hopefully once all those problems have been ironed out, they will be stepping off out of the Wellington Barracks, where they will march up and down across Birdcage Walk very briefly before joining down and going around the roundabout to the Buckingham Palace, where obviously we have the King's Royal Hussars formed up. There are currently 2 sentries mounted from the King's Royal Hussars, who are just waiting there doing their guard duties whilst we wait for the guards to step off from the from Wellington Barracks. So again, we'll just bring you that view of the car park again, where the RSM, which is of course RSM Human, is getting ready there in his position with the regimental colours. Obviously, these being the he's been embroidered with the battle honours of the Grenadier Guards, and being very much a big part of what the brings the regiment together. It has, it's very, very symbolic, and was used in the trooping of the colour, and also back in the days of line infantry to rally the troops and assemble them. Now we have the Grenadier Guards stepping off to their regimental march, very fitting, as they march up and out of Wellington Barracks, led by Chief of General Staff, General Captain. And some rather impressive marching there. Again, there is no marching music in this ceremony. This is all done off the skill, which is obviously done by repetition and practice here at Wellington Barracks. And I will say the standards are, given that it's all just done by a Q&R team, speed up and slow down, they've been doing very well tonight so far. They're all managing to keep in mind that we have one who is accidentally on the shoulder. But so far, it's looking very good, considering, again, that there is no marching tonight. This is all just pure skill. That was a lovely wheel round there, as they then wheel round back towards Buckingham Palace. Again, as I said, very briefly heading down Birdcage Walk, and it does appear that they're doing very well. Now I have to go and try and get some pictures. Lance Sergeant Mackenzie, and a few others. Who else do we have? Lance Sergeant Marshall, who was on the other day, a week ago, on Williams Media, telling us about their changing the guard out and Battle State. And we also have one of the Lance Corporals there. I cannot tell you which one that would be, as since my departure. Yes, that's one of the guards up there, being brought up by the rear by the newly appointed Company Sergeant Major for 9 Legged Company, of which of course is Company Sergeant Major Dawson. Again being led by General Batten, and of course the newly appointed Regimental Sergeant Major really know what way slowly through into the fourth Buckingham Palace there, with the Old Guard being commanded by Colonel Trojan to come to attention. Far gates over there, form a left form once they're through the gates, and the Old Guard there being commanded to slope arms. Notice the difference between arms and hype between the two regiments. Obviously the Grenadier Guards addressing it as hype, whereas the rest of the British Armed Forces address it as arms. This I'm not entirely sure the reason why, however it's just one of those differences in traditions that makes every regiment unique, and in this case the Grenadier Guards address it as hype instead of arms. This is unique to the Grenadier Guards, as in fact in real life all of the other Foot Guards regiments, I do believe, also call it arms like the rest of the British Armed Forces. This will have some reason behind it, but I'm unsure as to why. Now the New Guard being commanded to left turn there by the Chief of General Staff. Looking very nice with the officers and the Sergeant Majors taking up positions. Now being commanded forward, obviously they were marking time there, so that was a turning on the march, and they are now going to march in 2 ranks, which is a very difficult process. However, they are seeming to be doing quite well at this, and they're now being commanded to halt there by General Mountbatten. Again, this is all through the use of a speed system using the keybinds Q and R that allow them to speed up and slow down. They're now being commanded to dress in the open order. This allows space for inspecting officers to make their way through the ranks should be needed. Now they'll be made sure that their dressings are correct by the Company Sergeant Major there, who shall tell the guardsmen whether they need to come forwards or backwards. Which is, I would imagine, being done through their private voice chat that's being used for across the 2 regiments as they sort the dressings out. There we go. They're adjusting for a blank file there, which obviously, for those of you who don't know what that is, obviously if you have a squad, there is always if you have a an odd amount of numbers, then you will have a blank file which needs to be as far over to the left as possible, but you need to have all 4 corners occupied by a guardsman or soldier, due to the original concept of drill, which was to move troops effectively through a battlefield. So obviously you had to have all of your flanks covered in the name of defence. So now they're being commanded to, the New Guard is being commanded to advance in their slow march. Again, this is a very difficult act, and I think we've just seen one of the guardsmen lag out there, but they're doing relatively well. Obviously they're it's not a completely straight line, however, given that again there is no marching tool being used, they've done very well. Obviously those two guardsmen over there will probably shortly be asked to dress over to the right to fill in that blank file there. Oh, never mind, we have the original guard there, and we have the old guard now being commanded by Colonel Trojan to present arms as such. And the colonel will draw out her sword as such. And the new guard will also shortly be told to present arms. Yeah, there we go. They are now being commanded by the CGS to present arms. Obviously now it is arms because instead of hype, as they are present with another regiment, and so obviously in that case it will be arms as opposed to hype. Now have the CGS marching forwards to meet the commanding officer of the King's Royal Hussars, Colonel Trojan, where the two commanding officers of the new guard and old guard meet and have a quick little chat amongst themselves, shaking hands there, and then there you go, she's headed back to the King's Royal Hussars, whilst General Mountbatten heads back over to the Grenadier Guards. And we'll just wait for Colonel Trojan to halt, and then carry on from there. They should be ordered back into slope from here, which they will do now. And the new guard will do very much the same as the old guard. Now the old guard has been commanded to shoulder arms, and then the new guard will also be commanded to shoulder arms, I believe. Yeah, there we go. We have the old guard being told to stand at ease by the commanding officer there. Now the senior sergeant from the old guard will head into slope, I believe, and the same will be now conducted by the Grenadier Guards. Oh wait, no, it's stand easy, in which they shall perform that. Stand at ease obviously only being the movement of the legs. As you can see, the senior sergeant there from the King's Royal Hussars has gone into slope. I cannot remember which senior sergeant it is, but he is in fact a colour sergeant. And the same shall be repeated by the Grenadier Guards, with their senior sergeant being Colour Sergeant Molyneux of Nijmegen Company. Now the senior sergeants shall march over to meet each other, and so shall the commanding officers and the two the RSM and the second lieutenant there, or one of the officers from the King's Royal Hussars. They're now going to do their, I can't remember what the word for it is, but they sort of basically they march up and down with their colours there, and the two officers will do the same. Oh no, this will just stand there and print it. So there we go, that is the greeting there between the two senior sergeants. They will now head back over to their respective ranks to then order them to come to attention. No, they're calling out their relief soldiers. And 2 lance corporals and the junior sergeant. The senior sergeant for the King's Royal Hussars has just simply fell in with the rest of the old guard and is now stood at ease. Whilst these two carry out their pacings up and down the forecourt with their respective regimental colours, obviously the colours for the King's Royal Hussars and the colours for the Grenadier Guards. Now they're going to form a relief, so what is going to happen is they will then change over the sentries mounted outside Buckingham Palace. So they will firstly march over to the old guard, like so. These three will, the new relief, they'll be inclined to right dress, obviously dressing being the spacing between the guardsmen. So they're now formed into very little 2 ranks there, because they have an additional soldier there. Now being commanded 2 eyes front, now that they are fully dressed by Lance Sergeant Major there. I believe is from King's Company, if I remember correctly. He was previously in Nijmegen, but if I remember correctly, he transferred over to King's. To march over to the guards room in their squad by the junior NCO there. Now we commanded into High Port, like so, and they will then march into the guards room from there. From there they will then form a relief, and relief the 2 King's Royal Hussars troopers there from outside Buckingham Palace. You see the senior sergeant of the new guard now falling in with the new guard, which is dressing over to be more in the centre and the line. There is the RSM for the King's Royal Hussars. There was the RSM for the King's Royal Hussars. Now we have the relief being formed by one of the junior NCOs from Grenadier Guards. Lance Corp, in fact. So usually what happens here is they will be inspected, they will have to say their rank and their name, and he will inspect their uniforms, ensuring that all is correct before mounting his soldiers on duty. And the relief will be commanded into slope height before they will then be told to perform a left turn, and then also an outwards turn, which will be a left turn, and then they will march over under the direction of the Lance Corporal to march over to the sentry boxes and change over with the old sentries from the King's Royal Hussars in what is quite a spectacle display, you could say. It's performed regularly by the Grenadier Guards, obviously being reliefs, which they will do typically once or twice a week. Obviously, as we covered in our last video here on Williams Media, the Grenadier Guards and their role out Mountbatten Estate, where they have now been for 2 weeks. So it's very much the same process, but just being done at Buckingham Palace. There we go, they're being commanded to outwards turn there by our Lance Corporal there, and will then be commanded to march from there. Also, we've got some rather impressive medal racks over there. In fact, I think that's 2 OBEs, oh, sorry, MBEs even. So they will then march along there, passing the RSM from the old guard, from the new guard even, and the second lieutenant there from the King's Royal Hussars. And now passing the Chief of General Staff and the commanding officer of the King's Royal Hussars there, who are also now carrying pacings up and down the palace. And in fact, there is one of the members of the royal family, can't remember her name, Margaret Wellesley, there you go, I thought it was, obviously she has come to spectate the changing of the guard outside her home. But yeah, and there we go, this is the unusual sight here, 2 different uniforms being changed over. And really symbolises the, this is really proper part of the Guards changeover now. This is a very rare sight indeed, 2 different uniforms being changed over in front of Buckingham Palace, which will bring a conclusion to the King's Royal Hussars and their guarding duties outside Buckingham Palace. Oh, there we go, we have Her Royal Highness Margaret Wellesley approaching the guardsman and the trooper there. Salute being given. Now being commanded to change over by the NCO there. Now the trooper will join the back of this file here, and this is a very unusual sight. So I shall have to photograph that. Obviously Lance Sergeant Lemidra there, commanding the guardsman. And the trooper, of course. I have the other guardsmen there being mounted up. Now again, as I was saying earlier, the King's Royal Hussars, this brings a closure to their time doing public duties here at Buckingham Palace. This is a process that's been in the planning stages for many months now, going back to sort of early summer, not long after the coronation of King Edward. In fact, the changing guard was already on the horizon, planned by the Renaissance Regiment. And this is the conclusion of their guard duties in the palace. See a lot of practice and preparation being put into this, with the King's Royal Hussars who are usually armoured crewmen, having to be taught the ceremonial excellence and drill abilities of the Guard. There we go, we see the trooper there joining in with his old guard. The rest of the parade, he will then head into shoulder, he will dress first before going to shoulder, and then standing at ease and standing easy, like so. Very good performance from him there. And so that concludes the process of changing over these centuries. However, there is still some elements left to the ceremony. Obviously, the two senior officers there, and the junior officer and the RSM there, still carrying out their pacings up and down the forecourt under the watchful eye of Margaret Wellesley up there on the balcony of Buckingham Palace. So whilst we wait, this is a perfect opportunity for us to get some pictures for the just general whoever wants them, really. And we have one of the Lance Corporals there falling in with the, I believe he's falling in with the, oh no mind, I don't know where he's going. So again, as I was saying, a lot of preparation goes into this, and a lot of rehearsals. Obviously, the King's Royal Hussars that we have here now on camera are typically armoured crewmen, and so for them, this is really something very, very different, indeed, to their usual role, driving tanks about. So they've done very well, I think, so far, and I think hopefully we'll see some nice marching from them momentarily. Obviously, there we go, we have the guardsmen there in front of Buckingham Palace, mounted on duty once again after a month gap, whilst the King's Royal Hussars had the privilege, and that is a very iconic sight there. You know, the guardsmen in the bearskin and the tunic, you know, sort of what you expect to see on a postcard. It's very, very, you know, that's what you expect to see. And over here we have an assortment of various personnel from the respective regiments. We have Colour Sergeant Emoji from the Grenadier Guards there spectating, as well as a sergeant from the Parachute Regiment, and a, in fact I believe that is Lieutenant Nukes from the Parachute Regiment as well. In fact, Para's engineers by the judging from the cap badge, but yes, he is from 16th Air Assault Brigade anyway, sporting his dagger from the All Arms Commando course, which of course is very prestigious course to pass. Very hard indeed. There we go, we have the RSM of the New Guard fallen back in with his standard. That would be RSM Human there, of course, and obviously Second Lieutenant Verzu from King's Royal Hussars with his colour there falling. So the Chief General Staff is now falling in with the Grenadier Guards, and the Colonel and Commanding Officer Trojan will be falling in with the King's Royal Hussars. From there, they will be brought up to attention into sleep, and will perform a slow march out of the forecourt before breaking into quick time and marching back to Wellington Barracks, where the ceremony shall come to an end. The new guard being ordered to come to attention as well, like so. They will then both head into slope before the new guard gives a general salute, and the old guard steps off in slow time. There we go, they're both heading into slope now. Lovely timing on that from the Grenadier Guards. Virtually all in sync. Now we're going to perform their slow march out of Buckingham Palace. Leaving the forecourt for the final time, King's Royal Hussars, led by Colonel Trojan and followed by Second Lieutenant Bertie. Then ranks there, holding an absolutely outstanding slow march in two ranks outside, leaving the forecourt, followed by the RSM Zamir. Again, that is absolutely spectacular, even performing a right form there. Absolutely spectacular performance from the King's Royal Hussars. Very hard indeed. And the way they managed to keep their ranks is truly commendable. Especially given that they are a armoured regiment first, and the drill and ceremony is very much not their forte. However, they have managed to keep this formation, and from here they will then break into quick time. The Grenadier Guards will dress in the close order, whilst the King's Royal Hussars step off and leave in quick time. Now this is where it gets interesting, is if they can pull this off in quick time, that truly is a testament to their skill that has gone in, and so far it is. It's not quite as symmetrical as it was a moment ago. However, the fact that they even have one rank in line is truly something else. as a former instructor within the Grenadier Guards, having done many months of service, 9 months of service, I can tell you that right now that is a very rare sight. To all be in line like that. They have done exceptionally well, and so have the Grenadier Guards tonight as well. They have all done an amazing job, as expected from such high, highly esteemed regiments, of course. Now the King's Royal Hussars, following this, will return to their normal duties of armour and tanks and all the rest of it. You obviously using the full capabilities of the Challenger 2 main battle tank. This is where it gets interesting, as they now have to make their way through the very narrow gates of Wellington Barracks. So what I'd imagine is going to happen is they will probably perform a right turn or something similar, or they're just going to wing it. And hopefully reform their ranks from there. Wow, that is amazing that they have managed to do that. They must have put a lot of practice into getting everyone in line like that. That is truly amazing. They managed to hold their 2 ranks all the way from Buckingham Palace back into barracks. And that concludes the changing of the guard with the being instructed to ground arms, and they will be debriefed by Colonel Trojan. That truly was amazing. Officers being told and the RSM. It's forcing his wings there. Being put into place by Colonel Trojan. Of course, the new guard having fallen out to the guard room. Oh, never mind, they've all been teleported here as well. Well, with that brings an end to the changing of the guard. Here at London District, in front of Buckingham Palace even, sorry. London District being the British Army's operational name for the surrounding area here in Westminster. But yes, now that brings an end to tonight's Changing the Guard, and that therefore brings an end to tonight's broadcast. What you witnessed tonight was a true spectacle of British patriotism and British excellence. So without that brings an end to this broadcast, and we do hope that you all enjoyed. Obviously, before this we had the parliamentary session as well on broadcast, so it has been a very long 2 hours here for me, so I'm going to go and have dinner, and I wish all of you the a good weekend as such, and obviously stay tuned for more broadcasts and news from Williams Media. And that has been all. Thank you very much for watching. This has been Managing Director AdrianJWilliams from Williams Media. Thank you.